My best memory of Falls Creek would be in 2005. I had just become the youth minister at First Baptist Church in Blair, and we were trying to establish our youth group again. It had kind of been down and things like that. And our church had not been to Falls Creek in 3 years, and so I took them back to Falls Creek for the first time in that time. And that week at Falls Creek was just a real great week of connection for a lot of kids, and it really solidified our group, and they just kind of grew together and started welcoming in new people, and it all started right there at our week at Falls Creek. And it was just a great memory for me because it really launched just a really great ministry there at Blair, and our group began to grow from there. So it was a great memory just sitting back and watching that happen at Falls Creek.
My favorite memory of Falls Creek is every year we have theme nights. And one year we had a luau night where we all dress up in grass skirts and every other luau type stuff. And we had a hula dance contest. And I had the privilege of winning that contest because I'm obviously the best hula dancer that ever lived.
Probably my greatest memory of Falls Creek was when I was as a camper. When I was in ninth grade, it was the first time I'd ever been there. We were teaching a lesson. My youth pastor's wife was actually teaching a lesson over Acts chapter 9, which is Saul's conversion. And one of the verses in there, God sends this bright light that blinds Saul, and he says, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" And my youth pastor's wife, Candy, she wanted to have a guy read that verse in a deep voice, like the voice of God. And all these older guys attempted to do it, and one of my friends said, "Well, I think Seth could do it." And of course she had me read it, and I said, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" And from that moment on, in my youth group, I was known as having the voice of God, and so that kind of stuck with me, and it's just a memory I've had as a camper. As a youth pastor, one of my greatest memories, one of the coolest things that happened at camp was one night I was leading worship. We were singing some songs, and I just told the students that we were going to enter into a time of prayer through this worship, and then the students took it upon themselves to begin to pray with one another, and there were tears of joy, there was tears of healing, there was relationships that were restored through that night, and it was just a really cool night because not only were we worshiping in song, but we were communicating with God and praying for one another and lifting each other up. And I just remember that night, always remember that night as being something really special.
My favorite memory of Falls Creek is probably last year. We did our first team volleyball team, and started off not so well, but then with practice, by the end of the week, I think we ended up getting second place. So that was probably my favorite memory. And even today, I still talk to all of them, everyone who was on that team.
My best memory at Falls Creek was the three-point contest. Every year they have a three-point contest for the boys and the girls. And one year there was about 10 girls out of the whole Falls Creek thing, and finally I made it to the very end and got to win that thing. And it was a very special event because we got to pray with all the girls and have good sportsmanship, and it was just fun to fellowship with all the basketball and athletes there playing with them.
My favorite part of Falls Creek, probably the worship service. The bands that they always have there are super good, and I just feel like I get more out of the music than sometimes the pastor. And I was probably not the best, but I just feel like the worship service is the best part of Falls Creek all around.
The connections that you make with other people, because you're there for a week together, you're learning each other, and you make those good connections, because the Christian life was never meant to be lived alone. And you make connections with other people that are either come to know the Lord that week, or know the Lord, and you see that they are trying to live out their faith also with you. And so you make those connections and you help each other and feed off each other. A lot of that really gets established while at Falls Creek. And so that's one of my favorite things that I see happen at Falls Creek.
My favorite part about Falls Creek is during worship services and the music leadership. It's just so great to see the other kids worshiping. We all come together. There's probably about at least 700, 800 kids in at the time, just raising their hand and praising the same Lord. And it's just great to see all of the teenagers doing that.
One of my favorite parts of Falls Creek is the in-cabin devotion at night after evening tabernacle. It's one of the last things we do each night, and I always love it just because we get to do some fun games and things like that, and sing some songs. But it's probably one of the points of camp where a lot of decisions are made, and so I love seeing kids come to know Christ, and so that's probably my favorite part of camp.
My favorite part of Falls Creek is seeing the people walk down to be saved. It just gives you the chills, and it's just awesome to see that many people coming to Christ. What I learned at Falls Creek is that Jesus Christ is my Savior. I was actually saved at Falls Creek, and it was just awesome because I just felt Jesus' presence so much, and I felt Him calling me closer to Him to make that decision to live for Him and let Him take control of my life. And I also learned how to share Him with other people at my school and every other place that I go.
Okay, at Falls Creek, I've learned so much over the couple years I've been. And it's hard to really choose what I've learned. But one thing I've learned is that as a teenager, sometimes we always think that we're alone in the world. Like we're the only teenager wanting to follow Christ and be a servant of His. But when you go to Falls Creek, you see all these kids coming together to worship Him, and that you're not the only teenager in the world doing this. And it's just great to see that you're not alone, that you can always have people be there on your back for you to help you go through this.
What I've learned at Falls Creek goes alongside that also is how to make those connections. And what I've learned is that when you are around or a part of a youth group and you're around each other outside of Falls Creek, you can always remind each other about what you're trying to do in living out your faith and how you're trying to be effective in that. And so I've learned through the years of going to Falls Creek how to make those good connections and be people that spur each other to good things and living out your faith. And so it's been a great thing to learn. They always give you good tools to be able to do that. And so those are my experiences at Falls Creek. I love Falls Creek, and I thank God for it every day. It's been so great in my life.
What have I learned at Falls Creek? Falls Creek is a time where you learn a lot about your youth group and yourself and Jesus Christ. It's a good time to bond with all your other youth mates, and I feel like we get really close together and we all grow in Christ. And I feel like that's one of the best parts about Falls Creek, is not only that you just get to learn about God, but you do grow closer to everyone in your youth group, so that's good.
Some of the things I've learned from camp, I've learned a lot of things from Falls Creek, but just seeing God move and growing closer to Him each time I've gone, it's just helped build my relationship with Christ to what it is today. I surrendered to the ministry at Falls Creek, and so my love for God has grown and grown each year that I've gone, and it's one of the things that have helped me continue to develop my relationship with God, but continue to strengthen it as well. I love going to camp each year, and I've been doing it for a long time now. I don't even know how many years, but it's been well over 15 years at least, or more. And so I just love it, and that's the things I've learned from camp have always stuck with me, and have grown and helped me grow stronger in my faith. And so that's what I love about Falls Creek.